Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and welcome to October 2018's Q&A video. So just a reminder, if you have a question that you'd like to see answered in one of these videos, please leave it in the comment sections below this video or watch for the post on the Humblebee and Me Facebook page where I request questions for these videos. I do that once a month, and I'll throw it into the giant document where I collect questions and then sort of pull from them when I go to make videos. But yeah, let's dive in. The first question that we're looking at today is one that I have gotten in quite a lot of formats recently, which is the sort of how do I incorporate X ingredient into Y concoction? So the first thing you're going to want to ask yourself is, why do you want to include this? What is this ingredient supposed to do in a formula, and can you find any evidence that it will actually do that thing? So PubMed is a great place to check. Search through the scientific papers, and then you can use Sci-Hub to read the full text. So that would be the first thing I'd recommend doing, is check and see if the ingredient will do what you are hoping it will do, because that's, it's not always the case. Sometimes something works really, really well in a dietary sense, but is really not of any use if applied topically. So yeah, start with some research. Up next is finding out your basic information about this ingredient. So these are things that you should be able to get from your supplier. So things like the solubility, water soluble, oil soluble, etc. Is it heat sensitive? So does it go into a heated phase or into a cool down phase? What is the pH of the ingredient? Is it pH dependent? Is it really only effective within a certain pH range? And then what's the recommended usage rate? So this will give you an idea of how much to include of the thing for it to be effective, for it to do what it's supposed to do. But it will also give you an idea of what that upper limit is, so that you're not, risking irritation or any other kinds of safety concerns. There are also preservation considerations. Is adding the thing you want to add going to make your concoction sort of impossible to preserve? So if you're adding like dried rosebuds to something that has water in it, those dried rosebuds are not a very good idea. They're going to really challenge your preservation system, and it's likely going to fail. So that is another thing you want to keep in mind. This is less of a consideration if you're keeping your product, entirely anhydrous and it's not going to come into contact with water during use. But if your product contains water, or you're looking to introduce water to it, it's definitely a thing that you need to keep in mind. And I'll throw a link to Jane Barber's guide on preservatives in the description box below. There's also a lot of really good information in there about kind of things that you can and can't and really shouldn't do in order to make sure that your products are shelf stable and safe. Once you know all of that, it's time to kind of work it into your formula. So let's say that we are working with a lotion. So a lotion has a heated water phase, a heated oil phase, and a cool down phase. And so solubility will start to tell us which phase it's going to go into. So if it's water soluble, probably your heated water phase. If it's oil soluble, probably your heated oil phase. But if it's temperature sensitive and can't be heated above 40 degrees Celsius, you're going to want to put that in your cool down phase regardless of solubility. You're also going to need to make room for that ingredient in your formula. So for a lotion, if it's water soluble, I would typically remove those percentage points from your water. So knock like maybe 3% off your water and add 3% of this other ingredient. And again, that percentage level, that how much of the ingredient you're using, that's going to be determined by your recommended usage rates, which you can get from your suppliers. If it's oil soluble, I would probably be taking that off of the most present oil, the one that you already have, sort of in the largest amounts. Once you have incorporated it into your formula in writing and everything adds up to 100%, it's time to make it and see what happens. Make sure you take lots of notes. Start small so that if it is awful, you're not really like heartbroken at the loss of ingredients. Yeah, make some notes and learn from doing. AO wanted to know if I enjoy flying and what my best and worst flying experiences have been. I'm typically just pretty ambivalent to flying. I'm not a nervous flyer or anything. I just usually try to bring lots to do on the plane so I can get lots of work done. If they have airplane Wi-Fi and it's a decent length flight, I'll buy some Wi-Fi and reply to like 100 blog comments while I'm on the plane. So I tend to get a lot done on planes, and so that's nice. That I always get off the plane feeling good if I've got a lot of stuff done in that sort of like time I was going to be spending sitting anyways. Most of my best and worst experiences haven't happened on airplanes. Say sort of like the best thing that's happened on airplanes is usually if there's nobody sitting next to you, and then you can like lay down on a transatlantic flight just like a wee bit and sleep a lot better. And the worst is probably like on tarmac delays. I had one of those a couple years ago. It wasn't really that long, but I was right at the back of the plane, right next to the toilets. So most of that delayed kind of smelled like butt and the mysterious chemical that goes in airplane toilets. If we broaden out best and worst experiences to just airports, best would definitely be airport lounges. I once got to go into the Air Canada lounge, and oh my goodness, there were warm cookies and a buffet of hot food and a bar, and it was quiet, and the chairs were comfortable, and apparently there's also like showers and stuff if you require such facilities. So airport lounges are where it's at, and I feel like I need more of those in my life. And then probably the worst would be back in, I think it was about 2007, I had a 36-hour delay on a red-eye flight out of Hawaii. So your flight's already leaving at about midnight, and then it just kind of kept getting delayed. Like initially it was just like, oh, it's just gonna be like half an hour, and then it was, oh, it's just an hour or two, and then by like 3 or 4 in the morning they're sort of like, yeah, so we're gonna send you to a hotel, but be back bright and early tomorrow because the flight's definitely gonna leave. And it did not. It took, like, it didn't leave until about 4 in the morning, I think the following morning. It was a very, like, okay, so we're in Hawaii, and so if they just sort of said like, hey, you have an extra day in Hawaii, I'm like, yes, but instead it was like, you have an extra 2.5 hours in Hawaii. Oh, sorry, make that another 2.5 hours. And so yeah, you just kind of sat in the airport line. But hey, if that's as bad as it gets, that's fine. Anna asked, when you can't or don't make something yourself, what brands would you recommend, or how would you choose a brand? And so for me personally, the things that I typically don't make for myself are things that have actives in them, so things like vitamin C serums, AHAs, BHAs, that kind of thing. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is start by familiarizing yourself with the amount of said active ingredient that you would want in a product that is effective in that product, because sometimes 1% is a very strong and a large, good concentration of an ingredient, and sometimes 1% is nothing. So it varies on an ingredient by ingredient base. And then when you're looking for a product containing that active, where does it fall on the list? Or better yet, is the brand telling you outright this is a 20% vitamin C serum? Like, are they giving you the concentration? So yeah, make sure that there's enough of the thing that you're looking for in the product to do the thing that you would like it to do. Checking reviews is generally a good idea. Obviously, reviews aren't infallible, as Sunday Riley, a rather posh brand, is sort of, they've been outed for posting fake reviews of their products on Sephora's website. So yeah, obviously they're not always infallible, but it's definitely a good thing to include in your research. I also really like browsing Reddit's skincare addiction subreddit. There's typically a ton of really good information there where you can learn about brands that you haven't heard of, read people's reviews and experiences with products, breakdowns of ingredient lists, and that sort of thing. So that's also a good resource. Does the place you're shopping from have a good return policy? This is, I feel like, a really great thing to be able to buy something and try it for a little while and be able to return it. So yeah, check the return policy of the brand or the store, so that if you can feel more confident in making your purchases. If you buy something and you hate it, you can get your money back. And so maybe you'd also feel a little more confident trying something a little bit more expensive if you're thinking that's what's going to work for you. So yeah, make sure you check out return policies. When it comes to brands I like, I really like a lot of stuff from Deciem. So The Ordinary, I love because they're really, really affordable, and they outright tell you exactly what's in their stuff. This is a 10% niacinamide, 1% zinc serum. Cool, thanks guys. That's really, really useful. And they do that for all their products. So the products have fairly boring sounding names because they're all just kind of the concentrations of the actives in them, but you know what's going on in there, which is fantastic. There are Hylamide and Niode brands I've also been impressed with. Paula's Choice I found makes really solid products that I've been very happy with. CeraVe as well. La Roche-Posay, I have a couple creams from them that I've been very impressed with. I recently tried some Gold Bond lotion, just from the drugstore, brought some back from the States. And it has, if you look at the ingredient list, a delightful array of very effective actives in it. So even though it's kind of like just a drugstore lotion, there's a lot of really good stuff in there. So if you have really dry skin, I would take a look at Gold Bond lotion. There's a lot of really great things in there. When it comes to sunscreen, I get mine from Biore and Shiseido, but from Japan. They're fantastic, fantastic sunscreens, and I can throw links to those things in the description box below. Miruna wanted to know if I am interested in experimenting or am experimenting with urea and with magnesium chloride. So I am currently experimenting with urea. I have been for most of this year. I absolutely adore it. I've been trying it in things like lotions and facial serums, and it's amazing. It is an incredible moisturizer. If you kind of have like rough knees or something that no lotion ever really touches, or rough elbows, urea will make so soft. I'm a huge fan of urea. When it comes to magnesium chloride, I have tried it in deodorants and it didn't do anything for me. So I don't think you'll be seeing a magnesium chloride deodorant recipe from me anytime soon. And then the other thing that a lot of people do with magnesium chloride is they make it into like a magnesium oil by dissolving it in water. It's always baffled me as to why that's called magnesium oil. There's no oil in it. And then they'll make a lotion out of that. Read a really interesting paper on transdermal magnesium, and basically, does it work? Does it do all of the things that the websites that teach you how to make magnesium lotions say it will do? And the general gist of it was, no, it does not. So in light of that research, I'm not really that interested in making magnesium lotions, but I can link to that study in the description box below so you can read it for yourself if you are interested. Alright, so that's it for this month's Q&A video. Just a reminder, at the end of this month I am heading to the UK and to Europe for a couple weeks, so if you are in the London or Dublin areas, I'm having meetups, so make sure you check out the Humblebee and Me Facebook page for the event information, because I would absolutely love to see you there. And then while I am gone, responses to comments will be delayed because I'm kind of on vacation, which I'm really looking forward to. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, check that description box below for useful links, and I will see you next time.